So maybe I can. So let me try one final bit of stick handling here and see if it's possible to do this. Can we get, we just might. We just might. That looks good. So now let's see what happens. Will I be able to share this up here? That's a big question. Could you, Sasha, thanks. Will we get something going up here? No. Laptop extended? No. Interesting. How about laptop? Yes. Okay. So we have first thing is we have that going. That's good. So that means that we can set that up. And I think I'm going to keep this very, very simple, but I will be able to run something from there. So let me open this up, because at the very least, now the students here will be able to see. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the first thing that I'm going to share with everybody will be these notes. Hamza. Is Hamza here? Who's Hamza? Is Hamza here? Excellent. Hamza did good notes last week. Let's take a look at those. So now, okay, we're almost ready. This will be how I'm going to do it. See Hamza's notes behind me in a moment. So what do we see there? We shouldn't see that. And why are we seeing that? Oh, it's because I didn't. I know why. Oh, it's because I didn't. Right. Okay. So let me just stabilize here. All right, for the final thing. Yeah. Okay. And then what I will do with the students online is I will good. Okay. Welcome to Humanity's Destiny. We are back in the global classroom, and I just want to make sure finally I'm muted here. Good. There's no interference there. I'm back here, and I'm back to Hamza's notes. Nice. So just to do a little bit of tech housekeeping and make sure everything's good right now. Online, Melissa, could you just either in the live chat or on your microphone jump into one of them and explain, what do you see right now in front of you? Do you see me and then behind me the screen with Hamza's notes?
Actually, it's going back and forth right now. I only see your initials in the little bubble, but like a second ago, I was seeing you in the back. But
Okay.
I feel like it depends on the internet connection. It's going back and forth for me, at least.
Okay, so I want to make sure that you are seeing the important stuff, and you should see right now. Hi, Dalton. Yeah, you do? Good. Dalton, so you see me at the podium. You see Hamza's notes behind me. Thank you, Zabir. Great. Okay, so we have enough to get going. And I can share these notes as well for all of you too. But that, I think, is all we need to do. Finally, I need to turn around and blow my nose, because this could be a problem in this class. Excuse me. I almost let me just get this. I'm not gonna circulate among you right now, the live in-person students, because I do not want anybody to get what I have. But it started last night, and I almost posted an announcement this morning to say I should stay at home and do another class from the sunroom, but I really wanted to be here. I think it's very important that we continue in person. And so I said, I'm going to be here and I'll deal with it. And so I have a bit of a cold, and if it continue to sneeze and my nose drips and I can't even communicate I'll have to find a workaround for that. But for now, just bear with me, and we will find a way to have our class. So good. It's really great to be back in the room with some of you. I know there are others of you who are with us online, and then, of course, the ones watching the recording. But we can today have a good in-person class with online. I see about 10 or so students right now. You can see if I just lift this up a little bit. There they are. So there's 10 online in our cosmos, planet Rudra, planet Adam, Dalton, Kruti Melissa, and others. All of you are part of the universe or the cosmos of the global class. Your little planets out there, and you can see me and hear me, and this is the way it will have to be for today. I will be at the podium, but at least we can have good interaction with the in-person students, and with all of you online as well, we can interact. So, how is everybody doing with this volatile campus right now? A strike, maybe will be over soon. Let's hope. Is everyone managing okay? Excuse me. Good. Well, I have a little bit of news for you on that front. On Friday, I believe, with the provincial mediator's help, the two sides, the union and the college employers council that represents all 24 colleges whose support staff are now on strike, they will be meeting again. And now the stakes are getting very high for both sides. There's frustration on all sides. College, the union, the province, who provides so much of the funding, and most importantly, I'm hearing it from the students too. And so we shall see, but perhaps this Friday there might be a good discussion between those sides and things will be back to normal next week. We shall see. This is a difficult time, but we're going to take a step back from that today, and we're going to continue with the next big thing. And what we'll do first is I'd like to review the notes that were taken briefly by Hamza, who took some excellent notes. And I think that these notes can also stand as an example for students as well. This is what I hope will happen from time to time with the notes, is a student is really on it and can stand as a kind of example or role model for others. So well done, Hamza. And then what I'd like to do actually is tell you about somebody today who I spent quite a bit of time talking about this morning in my global leader class. But I think that it's very important that we talk about him a little bit in today's Humanities Destiny class from a slightly different perspective, because he represents something about the next big thing that is absolutely revolutionary. And this is a person who, apart from his global leadership, has invented a piece of technology using science as well to help him with that, that has changed all of our lives. Now, I'm going to mention his name, and I'm very curious to see how many of you know who he is. In my global leader class this morning, nobody had heard of him, which was great for me because I felt that I could really open your eyes to something important. I suspect that some of you have heard of him, but may not know his story, and particularly what kinds of technology he was able to innovate to change our lives. So his name is Sir Tim Berners-Lee.
I was expecting to hear Elon Musk.
No, not Elon Musk. Elon Musk I might talk about, but only as a kind of reference. I personally, think he's pretty brilliant from a technical standpoint, but has virtually nothing to add to the public conversation about society and the direction we're going in. But if you just keep him with his cars and his satellites and other things. He is a force to be reckoned with. But the example I'm going to give you today is similar to Elon Musk in some ways in terms of his impact, but even greater, with a conscience to go with the inventiveness. And this is a really, really important part of humanity's destiny, is when we talk about the future and where we're going, humanity doesn't just mean humankind. It means other things too, if you think about its definition. And so when we talk about humanity's destiny, we also have to talk about what is the future of, as one student has picked up so well in this course, in her discussion post, I think it was in this course, benevolence. Or the idea that you care about the rest of humanity. Humanity is also a state of being. It's also a state of compassion and others. So let me just come back for a moment before we review Hamza's good notes and check. Did I see nobody raise a hand or even kind of lean forwards and go, yeah, I know who he is, but Sir Tim Berners-Lee. Okay. Well, what's that?
I said, sort of the modern day Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, no, actually, that's not a bad reference, Nikola Tesla, to Sir Tim Berners-Lee. And we all know probably what Nikola Tesla did and his legacy. And we just might talk a little bit more about him as well today, because when it comes to next big things, Kiki, right? Kiki. Elon Musk took the name Tesla for his first big company, for his vehicles, because of this person's impact, Nikola Tesla, on humanity and his inventiveness. But Nikola Tesla also faced a very fateful decision in the way that Tim Berners-Lee also faced. And Tim Berners-Lee chose something very similar to Nikola Tesla that has been so good for humanity. And so we will explore this a little bit more, okay? So who is Sir Tim Berners-Lee? In a nutshell, in brief, he is the inventor of the World Wide Web. He is the person who created, not the internet, that's hardware. It's the program and the algorithms and the way for us to then put all the content onto the internet, to create websites, videos, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, social media. Everything came after that and could not have happened without Sir Tim Berners-Lee. So he really created the next big thing that has had an enormous impact on the world today. So get ready. Now, I will come to a couple of videos as well with him or about him. But another thing that I'm going to talk about today, when we talk about the next big thing and what's important for the future of humanity, is I'm going to be going into some detail about the place that Tim Berners-Lee worked and where he actually first created the idea in the 1980s of the World Wide Web that would then go on to become the game changer for all of humanity. And that place is called the Center for Nuclear Research in Geneva, Switzerland. It's where the Hadron Collider is located. How many of you have heard of the Hadron Collider? Kiki and Noah? Oh, great. It's always good to see. Noah? Nice to see you in here, Noah. So Kiki and Noah both have heard of Hadron Collider. Anybody online heard of Hadron Collider, Geneva, Switzerland? Just, a few hundred kilometers down the road from Bern, Switzerland, where Albert Einstein lived and created many of his important theories and revolutionary ideas in physics. Well, I need to show you something about the Hadron Collider and what happened there that is really awesome. When we talk about the next big thing, we need to remember how to define it. And let's come to Hamza's notes and let's review a little bit of what he was able to record for us from last week. And then I'm going to give a little bit of a lecture just to kind of get you more familiar with Tim Berners-Lee, a little bit of an old-fashioned lecture with me at the podium. And then we're going to get into teams, or we'll see how things go. But it's really important that when we understand the next big thing, we have to understand something about human imagination. And I'd like to just remind you that even great scientists who deal in the world of rational, logical thinking and who deal in the world of proof and show me the evidence, who are very realistic, even they have huge imaginations too. Albert Einstein said the most important thing for a human ultimately is how he uses his imagination. Tim Berners-Lee, as you will see, imagined something. He had vision. And for somebody to create a new thing for humanity that is going to be so important for us, it has to start with the human brain. It starts in somebody's imagination. Our brain power is a very vital force in our future. Our brain power and our imagination is now creating new forms of intelligence. We shall see where that goes, but as you will see, it always starts in the imagination with vision. That's where the big thing comes from. So let's just take a look at last week, okay, to refresh ourselves. Any questions, anything anybody would like to know at this point in the chat? How are we doing? Looks good. Oh, we've got 11 students in there now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 here. We'll do on board in a second. I'll just make a note so I don't forget, but I want to first get to Hamza's notes. Okay? So, in a moment, after we do on board, one of you is going to have to do what Hamza did last week, which is take good notes and post them, but we're not going to go back to Hamza for this. We're going to park somebody over at the board today and do it that way, okay? You won't have to do it on your own computer. But take a look at this beautiful creation. Now, for the students online, let me just check with Dalton because I know he's engaged and connected to this class. Dalton, can you actually see the notes written behind me as I scroll through them? Can you see what's written there, or is it not clear? Okay, so, oh, I'm blocking it. Nice, okay. So if I don't block it and I move away, can you now see the notes? Oh, excellent. So I don't have to share it with you. That's another step. So what am I going to do? I have the camera there. I'm going to do this. Okay. So I'm going to scroll. I'm over here. Okay. This is how I'm going to do it. So I'm down below the camera. Everybody can see me. Good. So if there are any problems online, just let me know. But you can see my forehead there just beneath his notes. And so take a look at this. Class notes from last week, Humanity's Destiny, Introduction, Defining the Next Big Thing. May I remind you that Hamza was taking these notes from our class. So he was figuring out, as I was doing this with all of you, the structure. He understood this and he was getting the important ideas down. Humanity is advancing another game-changing innovation. That's exactly what humanity is on its way to doing. That's the next big thing. Past big things have included the mobile phone, the internet, the pandemic. Some big thing. When we say a game-changing innovation, it's true, but a next big thing can be broadened out to mean something that's going to affect us all. In a way, the innovation with the pandemic, we might say in terms of a next big thing, was the vaccines. that brought it to a standstill. But I have broadened out the term so that you understand next big thing can come from any area of life, provided that it has worldwide impact. And there it is. It affects most of humanity or all of humanity. It reorders daily life and culture, be as transformative as writing, the internet, or live streaming. Excellent. A question was asked of the class. What do you think will be the next big thing? Will it come from science, technology, religion, or another domain? Now, Hamza even then puts this into, the numbered, and I just have to pop up for a moment and block your view. Hamza, way to go. I almost want to have you come up here and help me with this, but we have to minimize the number of heads here, okay? But he got the critical question. Here we have the human-machine conflict. Human beings have evolved within the context of the following: develop blueprints of brain organization, tool making, tool modification, creative behavior, reliance on science, and has in turn given rise to human ethics and morals, including religion. I touched on these things, but he is also adding his own, I believe, knowledge, and that's helpful. Machines are increasingly exhibiting levels of intelligence and the potential for self-learning, machine learning, AI. Lovely. And then here we have the conflict. Will machines increase or substitute humans? We might say, will machines augment human intelligence? That's the important question to ask. Augmentation, not replacement. Popular culture, we touched on this, films, dystopian literature explores this fear, historical parallels from the stone tool. And I think I even showed you the measuring tape, right, from my sunroom. Well, that would have been, if we'd been back in the global classroom, I would have shown you my rock here. But anyways, I have a rock, an original human tool. So then he also was able to note, we touched on, futurist Ray Kurzweil predicts a singularity around 2029. And there were many other important things that he was able to capture and then organize for all of you. And I have to say that among the notes that have been taken in my classes over the years, these constitute among the best I've seen. And that's not an understatement or an overstatement. I'm just trying to state things as I see them, as they really are. We should thank Hamza for his attentiveness. That's what I ask of you now, is to really try and focus, because I'm about to tell you about somebody who has obviously struggled with his own mind. And as a result of that, he has changed the world with his invention, Tim Berners-Lee. So let me just stop for a moment and I will leave the notes there. I'm back here, and I will leave it perhaps, yeah, we'll put it over here at the poll. One of the reasons why I'm back here is because we took a little poll and 62% wanted me to be here. 48% said they didn't either care or no. So I'm going to make sure I'm here. 62 and 48, 62 and 38. Good. So, math doesn't add up. 62 and 48 comes to 110, doesn't it? Yeah. So there you go. Hamza's not as on top of things as we thought. Now we got Kiki. Good. Kiki's on it. Okay. Good. I like it. You're like, okay. So does anybody have any questions before I begin a little lecture and put up a picture of a person I'm going to talk quite a bit about? And I will put that person right behind me over Hamza's notes for the moment. And here he comes. And there he is. And we didn't see him in the morning class, Sasha, because of our problems. But now things are working a little better. There is Sir Tim Berners-Lee. Now, in the live chat, I have included some links to videos that show him and some of the work that he's done. We will get to those, and I will run them here as well. For now, as I stand here, Dalton, you can see clearly, of course, Tim Berners-Lee, and you can hear me, right? I should be loud and clear? Great. Okay, so this is working. Got it on the recording. I want you to take a close look at this individual. You're looking at somebody who we think created probably the most important invention of the 20th century, is one of the most brilliant minds alive today for what he did, for the choices he's made, and ultimately for how much he cares about humanity and about all of us. And I want to remind you of something technically here that's really, really important. All of you have grown up in the 2000s. I don't think there's a single student here. I do have in other classes who would have been born in the 20th century, except for me. All of you have been born during the time when the internet and the World Wide Web are commonplace. I have lived through the transition from the pre-internet world, the pre-World Wide Web world, to this world. And so I can speak to that other world too, as Tim Berners-Lee can. He is still alive. He's healthy. You can see him all over the internet. In fact, when London held its Olympics a few years ago, at the opening ceremonies of the Olympics, I have the little video of this. There's a wonderful scene in the Olympics where at the, I think it's Wembley Stadium in London. I'm not sure which stadium, but there's like 80,000 people or so. It's evening. You know, the Olympics are beginning, and you know it's dark, and then on the center of the stage in the middle, there's a house, a little lit up house, and suddenly the house is lifted up sort of electronically, and there's a man sitting at his desk, and he's typing something on a computer. Tim Berners-Lee. And he's typing, "This is for everyone." And that phrase, "this is for everyone," suddenly, along all the people sitting in the stadium going around, you see the words THIS going all around, lit up. "This is for everyone," as he was writing it from the center of the football field where he was at that time. He was asked to do that, and he has been knighted by the Queen because he saw something in the 1980s and the 1990s that he felt was needed. And he created it and fought for it, and eventually it became implemented all around the world, and it's called the World Wide Web. Now, before there was the World Wide Web, we had, from a technical standpoint, humanity had created computers long before. There's a very important person that you may know, Alan Turing, and he's also British. And during the Second World War, Alan Turing figured out through the computational experiments that he did how to take sort of ones and twos and create a machine that was able to break the German secret code that they were using, Hitler was using to communicate military orders and instructions to the German forces. Alan Turing was the person who figured out how to crack that code through computation and some surveillance, and eventually he led a revolution in computers and computation around the world. Tim Berners-Lee has won the award, the Alan Turing Award for computer science. It's considered the Nobel Prize for
for computers and thinking in that field. He is somebody who is not that much different in a way than all of you are, and even I was as a younger person. I want to tell you something about Tim Berners-Lee before you begin to learn about what he actually achieved and why he began to think of creating this new thing that humanity needed and people weren't sure we really needed it. He saw that the highway that we had created, the superhighway, the internet of connecting all computers, needed a common language, needed a way for all of humanity to share information. And he created the first website. He created the first web server. He understood the idea of hypertext and how you can link between different sites. He created HTML, URLs, and this came out of his mind. Now, I want to stop for a moment and begin to explore with you, before I tell you exactly how we did this, and take you to this incredible place called the Center for Nuclear Research in Geneva, Switzerland, where he became so inspired by the work that was being done there that he created the prototype for the World Wide Web there. I want to ask you, when we talk about a big thing for humanity, when we talk about an invention that a human is going to create for humanity, what do you think it takes in a human being to be able to realize something new and important? What do you think the qualities are that are important in order for something big and game-changing to be created? What would you say those qualities are? And let's hold your thought for a second. I want to make sure I get this going over here, okay? So go ahead and give your answer, and then we'll go over to the notes. Yes.
I think a very large understanding of the world and what exactly you're trying to bring into the world.
A large understanding of the world. Lovely. If that's something that you can gain from this class this semester, that opening of your mind, enlarging the human mind, broadening the human mind so that you can take in more, this is called progress and evolution. Hold that thought. What's your name again?
Noah.
That's Noah. Okay. The two Noahs here. Okay. We're going to get somebody on the board over there to do notes. I'd like to first have the people back there. Could you come forwards? Let's get the humans closer now so we can sit on the couches or just sit behind here as close as you can so that we can begin to work together. We're going to work together, okay, today as we start to understand more about why Tim Berners-Lee is so important for humanity and the next big thing. So come, if you can, sit on the couches, come closer, as close as you can. Let me just see how we're doing online. Yes, Daniel, good. An issue that they need fixing. Okay, so next thing is we need to get a note taker going on board today who's going to do what Hamza did, but over there on the big board. And so let me just see who is ready and has sufficient energy at 2:45 in an afternoon when people are starting to dim their eyelids and wish there was an espresso machine in this room. Somebody needs to go over there and get their 5 out of 5 before I pull them over there. Here goes Kiki. Yep, beautiful. Okay, so Kiki, do you remember how to just swipe? Okay, so just keep swiping until you get a fresh slide. Okay, just keep, go to the bottom. You might have to move. I might have to help you just a second. Yeah, exactly. So do this, and then, yeah. So just keep swiping until you get to a fresh slide. And I would like you to, after you are there, you should be there in this next slide. Excellent. Could you write down the next big thing, part 2? The next big thing, part 2. Notes from Kiki coming. And we will do the onboard a little bit later. And we'll do it also online as well. So we need to do in person and we need to do sync, is to get everybody. So once Kiki is finished, we're going to put our first note there because Noah has given us something important. When we talk about the next big thing, what do we need to have to start working on? A larger understanding of the world. A larger understanding. And I think it's fair to say that when we talk about the world, we're talking about planet Earth. This is the scale. This is the scale on which we are actually thinking in this course, is you are able to stand back and think about all of humanity on this single living organism called planet Earth. And this is a relatively new kind of perspective for humanity, a larger understanding of the planet. One or two other things before we start to explore Tim Berners-Lee's story, and we're going to look at a video, our first video as well. I'll get that going. Noah has given this. What else? Qualities that we need to have, a human needs to have, to be able to conceive of something that is on this scale, something big like this. Let's take a look in the live chat and see. Yes. What humans need and want. Lovely. We're talking about humans now. And I think we kind of understand what that means. We don't need to go into that in any detail. But if we look at this room right now and we look at the people who are here with us live, we will have people from all over the world. People of different color, people of different gender. We will have an immense, diverse representation. But there's something deep under that that unites us all, and that's our basic common humanity. It's something that we humans don't always think about because we all tend to think about our own box. You know, we're either Canadian, we're British, we're Christian, we're Jewish, we're Muslim, we're Hindu, we're Jamaican, we're South American. We tend to think in those sort of more contained ways, but that's not what we do in Humanity's Destiny. We think of what humans want and humans need, and that's very much what Tim Berners-Lee was thinking of as well. What's your name again? Ruben. Nice. Ruben Lawrence, right? Ruben Lawrence. Great. So what humans need and what humans want, really, really important. Third thing, we talk about a larger understanding of the planet, a deeper understanding of human desires. Think for a moment of what problem do you see in the world today? And you could even bring that down to the level of what problem do you see in your community or around you, just in your local community? What problem do you see that needs fixing? That's where we sometimes get Noah.
I find people are very divided and judge each other way too strongly.
So, good point. So we have a problem of division and judgmentalism or rushing to judgment. So what do we need to start thinking about, Noah, that could potentially become a next big thing, something that would be good for humanity, something that would resonate with people wherever they are on this planet? Think about this. It's not easy, but use your imagination. This is where you have to be able to step back and think more broadly. Do you know, for example, when you look at the religions of the world, let's take a few really well-known ones. Islam, the Prophet Muhammad. Christianity, Jesus of Nazareth. Judaism, Moses and Abraham. How about Buddhism? Prince Siddhartha Gautama. Do you know what all these religious prophets have in common? Almost to a person, once upon a time, they retired to a cave somewhere. They went to a mountaintop somewhere. They went to a hilltop somewhere, and they kind of sequestered themselves quietly away from the world, and they thought, what does the world need? Prince Siddhartha Gautama, the great Buddhist who gave us Buddhism, he went into a forest. He sat down in a forest and he thought and thought, meditating. What did humanity need? Why was there so much suffering in the world? He thought big, but he removed himself. He removed himself from his things, what we have a difficulty doing today. We're also attached. So I'm asking you, if you want to understand something about our destiny and about the next big thing and about imagination, you need to pull yourself away now from your machine. And Noah is getting ready. I'm going to help him do this. He's a visitor to the class, but he's a classmate nonetheless because he's contributed and he's right here and engaged. So I'm going to ask him, Noah, I want you to just sort of remove yourself for a moment from everything, just sort of as if you're sitting on a kind of riverbank. And you've gone there and the water's rushing and you see all this water, but you're just going to sit there quietly and you're just going to observe the water going by and it's rushing and it's not going to draw you in. That water's not going to pull you in. In fact, you're just going to be nice and calm. You're just going to watch it go by and eventually things start to calm down and you get calm. As if you're in a cave on a hilltop in the forest somewhere. And now you can plug into your imagination. You don't need your device now to stimulate you, give you ideas, keep you connected to anything, because you have this, you have your brain. You have the greatest organism, instrument of all that has been created on planet Earth, and that is the human brain. So now, Noah, let's go with this for a bit. We're going to be quiet. We're going to chill out for a minute, and we're not going to do anything. We're going to let Noah think. We're going to let Noah think. We're going to let him look up and imagine. And he said, all this division, sort of judgmentalism. So what do we need to do? Where do I start fixing this? Now, let's see what his imagination. Give him a chance, okay? He's not going to come up with much at this point because it's just the beginning, but we're just going to help him a little bit. I'm not expecting that you're going to change anything, but I want you to be able to do what Tim Berners-Lee did. He used his imagination and saw something before others did. Okay. Noah, what do you think we should start thinking about in terms of doing? To be really simple.
I think we should stop trying to see people as different from one another. We're all a part of the human race. So I think that we should like try to remove the already associated division amongst people
Yes.
and kind of just unify everybody as one. We have too many things in the world that separate us as people.
Yes.
Culture and land, sure, but past that, we are all biologically human, and if a lot of hatred will come off people assuming others are different to them.
Yes.
They technically aren't. They just may look a little bit different. They may have a different sex or gender, but we're all humans, and we need to raise other people with that assumption that everybody is equal and there's really nothing different between us.
So, what kind of action should we start to do on a daily basis? Or is there an application that maybe needs to be created? Or is there some kind of technology or some kind of attitude or some kind of new religion we have to create? Or how do we do that, Noah?
As I stand on the thought right now, this is just solely my idea. I honestly don't think there are going to be people out there who are going to share the same ideology, so I don't think it is something that we can unfortunately fix. We're always going to have good and bad people in the world, but we can definitely try to simmer down hatred, maybe by running kids through like a mandatory psychology course in high school, or just something to further understand that everybody is different mentally and is going to have different beliefs or different cultures, and just try to make people understand others around them without jumping to hateful
Judgment and conclusion. Absolutely. There's a lot there. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Did you hear that online? Dalton, Melissa, did you hear Noah speak, or was it clear? Good. Okay. Clear enough, because it's the microphone on my camera. There was a student who raised his hand. Did you want to say something?
Why are people so divided? If you saw the world,
Well, I love the direction you're going in. I could almost take credit for somehow magically making this happen, but I won't, because I wasn't planning on this completely. But you've taken us to Tim Berners-Lee in a way that is so perfect as a transition, because Tim Berners-Lee had a similar sentiment. He wanted to bring people together. Let me tell you about, Noah? Noah number one, Noah number two. Noah number one, please.
if you really think about it, there couldn't really be a way to stop people from kind of hating each other, even like the broadest sense, far in the future. It's always going to be, because people are themselves, they can be anything. Everybody has different thoughts and stuff like that.
Yes.
So there's going to have to at least be one or two people that are going to split off from that common line of, even if you got everybody to be
Sure.
perfect,
Yep.
there would still be some people that would split off just because. And
That's the way it is, of course. But I think as you hear about what Tim Berners-Lee did, particularly at the Hadron Collider in his research there, and how he had similar sentiments, and how he began to use that as a way to create a new technology, I think you might become a little more optimistic about humanity's ability to work with others who are different, and to be more curious, and to hate less, to be more interested in learning, and to be less judgmental and intolerant. I think you will see in this mind a reason for hope, and a reason for hope for our future. I'm about to tell you about his story and what he did, and I'm also going to culminate with a critical decision that he made, and I want you to keep this in mind right now before I begin over the next 15 minutes or so as I explain this. We'll see if we have time to go in teams, but my voice and my nose is a little bit kind of fading, but I really want you to hear this part. I'm not going to tell you in my lecture what his critical decision was. I'm going to ask you at the end, what do you think he did that is so important in terms of a decision that he made that represents real hope for humanity? Real hope. But first, you need to understand a few little things about him. So what I'd like to do is I want to start with a video, okay? This should work. I want to take the students who are in the live chat. I'm just going to check and see which video here is the Hadron Collider one. No, that's him at the Olympics. So let me just come back. And is this Hadron Collider? Yeah, good. Okay, so I'm going to run it in a moment for everybody here as well. But for those of you online, could you please now go ahead and click on the second link? You should see it's called the Large Hadron Collider. And just make sure that when you click on it, Melissa, since you're there, could you just do me a favor and go to that second link and just when you click on it, stop it and tell me if the thumbnail says Large Hadron Collider. Want to make sure you have the right video. Then I'm going to run it for everybody here. Okay, so just go ahead and second link. Step inside the Large Hadron Collider. So I'll just put this in. Please click on the second link at the top of the chat and watch the video titled Inside the Large Hadron Collider.
That's what it says. Yes.
Great. Okay, thanks, Melissa. Go ahead. So I'm going to let them do that. Go ahead and watch it and make sure you mute. I'm going to run it for everybody here. And here we go. I want you to just feast your eyes on this amazing place, and then we will talk about him. What am I doing?
Welcome to the largest particle physics laboratory in the world.
Okay, I'm going to have to narrate this myself, okay? Because you can't hear this, it's not connected. So I'm just going to mute this. I'll let the video run. Okay, let me just, okay. So I'll do the narration, okay? This is from the BBC, British Broadcast Corporation. They have a show called Click, which is a tech show, and their host went there to do a little tour. He went to Geneva, Switzerland. His name is Spencer Kelly, I think it is, to take us inside this place, the Center for Organization for Nuclear Research. Now, what this place does is it has built, as this goes, you will start to see underground what they have. It is the largest machine in the world that humans, oh, this is stopped. Hold on. Hold on. It's going to come. Something's frozen there. Oh, it's buffering. I knew. Just a second. It's going to come. Okay, let me refresh. There we go. 27 kilometers. This looping tunnel system, 300 meters underground, runs all underneath Switzerland and the bordering countries, 27 kilometers long. In this tunnel system, subatomic particles are pushed through there at blinding speed, essentially the speed of light. We're very close to that. Speed of light is the fastest thing in the universe. It goes at 250,000 kilometers per second. The speed of light. It's the fastest thing we know. 13.7 billion years ago, when the Big Bang took place, which is what we believe happened, the birth of the universe, we believe that that's when subatomic particles, neutrons, protons, and eventually electrons began to come together and clash together and create matter, energy.
What they're trying to do with this experiment, with scientists from all over the world coming together, is they're trying to recreate the conditions of the Big Bang, having subatomic particles clash together and create energy to understand what matter is. What matters is atoms. Everything that we have around us, everything is made of atoms. Inside atoms are subatomic particles. The protons, the neutrons, and the electrons. So what we're trying to do in CERN, scientists from around the world, is to try to understand exactly how we get the conditions to create all of this stuff we see around us in the universe. Matter, not just mass, but matter. Because if we can understand how this happened, we might be able to start to create technology that can be invented from this science. Now, in this machine that was created, there were computer scientists that were brought together from all over the world to Geneva, Switzerland, to build this machine and begin to study the data from these tests that were done with it. That's where Berners-Lee fits in. He was among the people who was invited after he graduated from university to come there and create a new communication system there. Essentially, the scientists, there were dozens of them, who all had different computers, speaking different languages, who were at this center in the 1980s. And he began to wonder, how can they communicate with each other better, these scientists who are there? They all had different devices, different machines. There was no World Wide Web at that point. Let me just check and see how people are doing online, okay? And then I'll come back. Have you all been able to watch the video inside the Large Hadron Collider? I've shown a little bit of it here, not all of it. Excellent. Okay, good. Do you have any questions? Does anyone online have any questions or here before I tell you what exactly Tim Berners-Lee began to do there? Let me come to, there he is. This person, Tim Berners-Lee, was already in his 30s when he was invited to come to the Center for Nuclear Research to help develop a system so that the scientists there who were doing the research could sort of talk to each other in a common language. Let me just rewind for a bit so you understand where he came from. This is a person, when he was growing up, he didn't have the kind of privilege that you might think. His parents were computer scientists and they were definitely committed to their fields, but they were not rich. He went to a normal school. And if you actually watch an interview with Tim Berners-Lee, you will notice something immediately. He's awkward. In fact, it's sometimes hard to follow how he's thinking. You will be struck by the fact that you seem to be looking at a person who has some sort of disability, some sort of intellectual or cognitive disability. He's never spoken about it, but it's obvious. Anybody can see that. He was a very awkward and shy person, an introvert when he was growing up, but he was fascinated by computers and fascinated with sort of tinkering with things. And eventually he began to take that interest more seriously. And when he went to university, he started to study science and physics, and he was interested in the world, but he had trouble communicating. I suspect that if I asked some of you, are you an extrovert or an introvert? Probably quite a few of you would say I'm an introvert.
Probably quite a few of you would say, I'm not the best communicator. So what? You may have an amazing mind. You may have something very important to contribute. As long as you begin to become interested in knowledge, education, knowing more. See, when Noah talked about what we need and said we need maybe a psychology course, better psychology for younger people to understand how to help those and open ourselves to those who are different, he's not so wrong. Education, knowledge, learning more is critical to our future. Knowledge is our destiny. As Jacob Bronowski once said, a great futurist, knowledge is our destiny. Think of how important that is. Tim Berners-Lee loves knowledge. So imagine this situation. He is now working in the 1980s at one of the most advanced laboratories in the world with a very sophisticated new machine that is helping us to understand how we can learn more about matter in the universe. There are many different people from all over the world who gather there. And one day he begins to think, you know, they're all using kind of this thing called the internet, but they can't seem to share information very well. There's no way for them to send pictures and videos and with a common language. What if I took hypertext and I married that to the idea of the internet, which was essentially the internet at that point was just computers connected, but there was no way of sharing that information. It was as if we had the big highway system set up, the 407 was all ready, but there were no cars on it yet. So he began to think, well, I want to put cars there. I want to get the traffic going there. I want people to be able to, one scientist in one part of CERN to talk to the other and share, and maybe they can share that knowledge, and by sharing knowledge, they can accomplish more. Well, he implemented this system. He wrote a program, an algorithm for this. This is the 1980s, guys. This is long before the social media and long before the applications that you have. This is the groundwork for the system that you're using right now on your phone and your laptop, everything. And he says, well, it seems to be working so well here at CERN. People are communicating each other. He goes to his boss at CERN one day with a proposal. And he said, I want to take this outside of CERN. I have this idea for what's called a World Wide Web. He even had the term, World Wide Web. And his boss wrote on his proposal, vague but exciting idea. Vague but exciting. He took that as a sign of interest, even though he wasn't getting that much support. Somebody was saying, this is exciting. Well, the rest is kind of history, except for this big decision that he made. Eventually, the World Wide Web will grow out of what he created at CERN. He will create the world's first website. And within weeks, there will be thousands of websites now being created by people all over the world sharing things through their links, because he created the language so that people could link from one thing to another. That you could write a blog, and you could be writing a blog about, turtles. You love turtles. And in that blog, you write all about turtles, and you're saying, well, there's this piece in Scientific American about turtles, and here it is, and you send that to somebody else, and that person can link on exactly the same thing, and they can read the article in Scientific American or whatever, and then they can communicate on their blogs back and forth in real time in a common technical language. So all this data, all these cars were now on the 407. Are you seeing this?
Does this make sense in terms of what he was beginning to do? Create the way for all of us to start using this powerful new thing called the internet. He was creating a way for us to get the data on it that we could share and use with the same language, so there was no confusion. Does that make sense? Do you see that? Yes? Okay. Well, now, we're ready for the big decision, the big question. I'm going to help you. Once upon a time, in the history of civilization and human society, humans only spoke. They didn't write. 75,000 years ago on this planet, the early humans, with our brain size, were already talking. Very, very primitively. There was no alphabet, no language really, but they were beginning to develop their way of communicating things through grunts and other very simple forms, but there was no writing. That would come many thousands of years later. One day or two, in a place called Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers, Tigris and Euphrates, in what is now Iraq, there was a human who went, well, if I take that piece of grass, and it's a hard piece of grass, and I sharpen the bottom of it, I create a little stylus, like a little knife point at the edge, and I take a bit of clay, soft but not too soft, and I kind of put symbols in it. And I let that clay dry. I look at that, I have a tablet with symbols on it. And if you give those symbols meaning, I can share that. I can let that symbol be taken to another place up the river, and a person who, if that same person knew what those symbols meant, would be able to understand what I was communicating on that first little tablet. That's called writing. Do you know when writing was first invented, the knowledge for how to do that remained in a very small place, in the court of the very rich and those in control. They were the ones who took that new technology and they kept it for themselves. Why did Tim Berners-Lee take this information, this invention, and finish the sentence for me? Why didn't he ... do what? If you're going to invent something really important, and you've created it, and you know it's going to be important for humanity, or you really believe that it is something that we need, then what are you going to be doing with that first? What would you like to do with that thing? What would occur to you first? Kiki.
Capitalize.
Now, can we please make a note? Were you going to suggest capitalize? We talked about Elon Musk at the beginning, just briefly. Elon Musk has given us some big things. He's given us hybrid vehicles that run on partly electricity, partly on gasoline. He wants to create something fully electric for all of humanity, and he's working on that. He has created cheap space flight so that rocket ships can be sent into orbit now and beyond, and they can cost less so that more people can go into space. He has been creating new technologies which would allow chips to be inserted into the brain for neural implants. But every single time Elon Musk creates something, he generally thinks first of Elon Musk. How can I make more money? How can I grow my company?
How can I keep amassing more and more money for myself? Tim Berners-Lee made a remarkable decision. There's a reason why none of you knew his name. There's a reason why he's not famous like Elon Musk is. Because he decided to essentially make it open source. He decided, see you next week, Sasha. He decided that this algorithm, this knowledge of how to create the World Wide Web should be shared with all of humanity, so that all of humanity could benefit from this information, this ability to collaborate and connect. He didn't try to capitalize on it. Kiki is right. He faced a huge decision. There's purpose and there's profit. What kind of future do you want? There will be big things coming in technology in the future. No question. The next big thing in computers is called quantum computing. Do any of you know what quantum, have you heard about a qubit? Do you know what a qubit is? That's the next level of computation. It's coming now. Quantum computing. But what's that? Oh, Tim Berners, Berners-Lee. Tim Berners-Lee. And it's two words, Kiki. Berners-Lee.
Wasn't sure if it was a you or
No, that's great. I want to stop for a moment and just take a few minutes to discuss this, and we'll have an early class. Okay, we'll end it early, just because my throat may not be able to go much further. But I want to make sure you understand the most important part of today's class, which is our destiny, humanity's destiny. Guys, listen to this, okay? I'm going to go around the class a little bit and ask some of you, what's more important to you? Social purpose or financial profit? They can both go together. It doesn't have to be one or the other. But let's say that you had the opportunity to be part of something that is going to be important for a large group of people. What do human beings really, really want in the end? Reuben said, was it Reuben, human desire? And who said human desire, human wants? Well, what does the story of Tim Berners-Lee tell us about what humans really want? Okay, let's drill down on that a little bit more. Do good for the world, but that is a very, very broad and agreeable thing. I think we can all agree to that. We all want to do good, ultimately. The question is how, where, how do we do that? But Noah?
Benefit the quality of life to make others happier.
Benefit the quality of life to make others happier? Yes. Let's keep going. These are things that humans want, but I want to keep this simple today. I want to get it in a few words or less. Something really, really simple that relates to his story. He decided that he felt that humans want something that matters more to humans than money. For a person who comes from an underdeveloped part of the world, money means a lot. And I would never want to dismiss or minimize the importance of money and all of these things. But ultimately, even somebody who is destitute and doesn't have much will tell you that deep, deep down, there's something else that we humans need to be really feeling like we matter.
that our lives have purpose. What is that thing Tim Berners-Lee saw? It's so simple. It's hard. We're probably complicating it for ourselves. Do you know what he said, essentially? And it's why you're sitting in this room right now. You're almost there. We want to connect. We want to communicate. You want to learn. You don't want to stand still. You want your mind to be understanding more. Let me help you with this. How many of you know the website Reddit? How many of you know of the creator of Reddit? Do you know what his name is, the creator of Reddit? He's no longer with us. He died tragically. Aaron Swartz. Have you ever heard of the name Aaron Swartz? He created Reddit. Well, Aaron Swartz took his own life. It's quite an astonishing story. I could tell you a bit about it, but essentially, what's that? Well, at his funeral, Tim Berners-Lee spoke. And he said about Aaron Swartz that Aaron Swartz was somebody who really believed in the ideal of sharing knowledge, of learning. And that's, he said, why I'm here today, to celebrate his life. Aaron Swartz committed a crime, at least according to the American government, even though it wasn't quite as it would appear. He was a great hacker. He was a prodigy. As a young man, he was fascinated with computers, same as Tim Berners-Lee. He felt people should have access to as much information as possible, all information. That's what Reddit sort of was supposed to be. But then he did something that you might think could be too much, but maybe not. He broke into the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the MIT. He broke in and he stole a program, I'm not sure exactly what, but that allowed all of the people online to access for free all of the scholarly articles, all of the academic information that was privately held at MIT. He wanted all of that information to be available to all of humanity. But to do that, he had to break into MIT physically. When he was convicted of this crime, MIT said, we understand what he did, it was wrong. We are removing the charges. But the American government continued to prosecute the case and continued to prosecute it. Even though the journal from which he took a lot of that information, I think it was called JSTOR, or Academic, where he took all of this, they too said, we will release the charges, he has paid his price, but the prosecution of the American government went after him to make an example of him. And he was facing a very, very long jail term. And so he killed himself alone in his apartment in New York. Tim Berners-Lee came to speak at his funeral to talk about the legacy that Aaron Swartz had left for humanity as he had left, which is that the two of them had carried out actions that they both believed would enable humanity to have as much information at its fingertips freely available to share among themselves so that we all could get smarter. Amazing. The sad part of it is not just what happened to Aaron Swartz in the end, but look at what has happened to the World Wide Web today. It is a place of
largely garbage. Tim Berners-Lee has said if he felt that it would be taken over by the capitalists and social media companies would jump onto it, creating algorithms that get people addicted to content, he's not sure he would have created this. He didn't want to create social media sites that simply have algorithms to keep you connected. Do you realize a lot of what you're looking at right now is because somebody has created an algorithm to make the stuff that you're looking at look good, to keep giving you the right photographs, the right text, the right messages? He felt that humanity's destiny is threatened. This is a great invention, and we have to be careful how we use it, or we'll end up doing some damage to our own intellectual and emotional resilience. And so he's on a campaign now. He's on a campaign in the same way that Robert Oppenheimer, who created the atomic weapon, the nuclear bomb, he too, after he created that, he went on a campaign and spent the rest of his life saying, we must be careful about how we use this, or it could become our great curse. Please think about this story of Tim Berners-Lee today as you leave, and about the idea of when the next big thing comes that's going to be really important for humanity, what direction is it going to go in? Where would you like it to go? And if it doesn't go in that direction, why did we let it go in the wrong direction? Okay, I'm going to stop there and just make sure that everybody has understood. It's a little long lecture today, but I wanted to make sure you understood this, and I'd like to check in with you about first assignment, anything, next discussion polls, anything you'd like to talk about in terms of being ready for what's coming. Feel you're all good. Let me check online and see how are we doing online. Next week, we'll have a good activity here where we can get these screens going and we can get back to interacting. Hopefully, things will be working well. Is there anything I've missed as we review Tim Berners-Lee you feel needs to be said about this? Go ahead and put in the live chat, or otherwise, I think we're good. Humans want knowledge, exactly. Can you circle that, knowledge? And you've got knowledge is our destiny, right? Knowledge is nice, good. And just circle knowledge again. And then just write large underneath. We want to learn. We want to learn. Okay. Thank you, everybody. And I'm going to take time to blow my nose a little bit in a moment, but feel free to reach out to me via email if you need to. Kiki's notes here. We want to learn. Yes, thank you. And could you all, thanks for reminding me, Noah, Ruben, could you please just go, could you write one more slide, call it on board, and just write down your full names before you leave? Could you all, yeah, thanks. Rudra, could you all write your full names in the live chat before you sign out? Go ahead. Thanks, Darson. Tenzin, yeah. Let me get attendance, proper attendance, and then we're good.
Hey, boss, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Is that Dalton? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm currently driving. Can I just, can I still be marked down for attendance?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Roger, could you write in Dalton's, just put Dalton in the live chat, Roger?
Sorry.
That's okay. Somebody put in Dalton's
Thank
name.
you.
Or I'll do it. I'll do it myself. Dalton, what is your last name again? Dalton?
Westerman, Westerman.
Perfect. I just entered it. Okay, you're good.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Noah. See you, Kiki. Okay, I'm going to save this live chat. Everybody's in here. Make sure you've got your full name in there. Excellent. Before I save this. Good. Zana. Nice. And what else do we need? Okay, I'm going to stop the live stream. There we go.